What innocent item gets suspicious if you buy too much of it? My wife owns a snow cone stand. We buy sugar in bulk, like 400 lbs at a time. She has been asked several times if she is making moonshine. My dad knew a guy that made moonshine. He'd go to the store and buy loads of sugar, and when asked what he was doing, he'd say making some moonshine. No one had a problem with it. Lol. He straight up didn't give a duck. I say do what you want, as long as it ain't hurting others. I think I read once that a foreigner in America got flagged as suspicious, followed and harassed by police. What did he order in excess? 100, maybe thousands, of pounds of dental cast supplies. The stuff they once used to make 3D imprints of your teeth. Say for a retainer, or for official dental records. Turns out the guy was a paleontologist and used it to safely ship samples to his lab. When the gov figured it out, they rolled out their first ever permits for paleontological digs. Rookie. Everybody knows you use Barbasol cans to transport samples. We got Dodgson here. Fertilizer or Sudafed. I recently tried to buy 15-quart allergy medicine with decongestant in it, and the system flagged me saying that I would be over the limit. I could however buy the 10-quart with zero issues. Had a friend who was a gym rat and health food nut. We were in the military stationed overseas and shopped at the on-base commissary grocery store. He got on this kick that baby food was healthier, no added sugar or salt, pure ingredients, easy to digest, etc. He would buy jars of the fruits or veggies as snacks. Eventually he decided it was easier to buy them in bulk and he started buying huge quantities at a time. He was not married and had no children, so he was flagged by the commissary as a potential black market supplier. There was this massive investigation, and in the end they just had to admit that he was a weirdo who liked baby food. They did make him stop though, because it was a small base and a limited supply. Is baby food a hot item on the black market? You don't buy baby food on the black market? So I used to work in theater, and one of the best things we would use to keep sweat from getting into wireless microphone packs are unlubricated condoms. They stretch, are pretty waterproof and cheap enough to just have a stock you can blow through. These same mic packs also use 9V batteries. Needless to say, one day our stage manager had to run out after a matinee to restock. I can't imagine what someone with no context would think of someone buying 10 packs of 9V batteries and God knows how many unlubricated condoms. I was the sound technician in theater in high school, and we did this too! Exclamation mark. Exclamation mark. Well, we kept them in the stage office, which has black lights installed for during shows. And it just so happened the room was covered in baby powder from filling smoking pipes as props. So one day the janitor walked by, looked in and saw a room full of black lights and condoms, with white powder laying around everywhere. Needless to say, the director had a few questions for me afterwards. Lol. Imagine a cashier recognizing the teacher and not knowing the context. The teacher recognizes them, mistakenly thinks they used to be in stage crew, and say it's for stage crew. Been real busy lately. These freshmen really blow through these condoms. Apostrophe. Males with pipes. When I was at Home Depot we literally had to sit through training on this, and were told to notify our superiors if we saw anyone buying large quantities. This was sometime after the Boston bombing. I think that specific combination would have a stupid high false positive rate, and not actually catch people making bombs. I'd luck for people buying way too many end caps for the amount of pipe they bought, or no other fittings but end caps. They would most likely buy short pipes with the threads already threaded, called nipples, plus a bunch of caps, unless they have access to a pipe threader, which most plumbing and electrical contractors do. Professionals rarely hang steel pipe with nails. I can't even think of a time I've seen that on a site. Amateurs rarely use steel pipe. Those two items bought together would actually make me wonder. Canned air dusters. Last time this question was asked I learned some people apparently get high off these. I once went to Office Depot and walked right into a huffing session between one of the workers and his friends. They were literally all sitting in the assembled office chairs huffing these dusters in front of all the customers. The gang get jobs. Cue It's Always Sunny theme. 1 milliliter of trifluoroacetic acid. Clearly just making some aqueous buffer. 1 barrel of TFA. How many bodies were you planning on dissolving? Question mark. Trifluoroacetic acid. Is that the acid the guy in the movie saw? Used? I can't remember the number. It might have been 5, 6, or 93. I can't keep up with the franchise. Baking soda. Apparently, we used massive quantities of it at my old job for deflocculating soil samples, and I would order or pick it up from Sam's by the hundreds of pounds, like as much as the truck could safely carry. Got weird looks and tons of questions every single time. Had to just say we use it for science and hope they didn't think it was somehow drug related lol. For some reason we almost always got asked if we were cooks. Like what cook is using that much baking soda? Exclamation mark. Lol. Deflocculating. I feel like this is a made up word from a kid's cartoon. 2 years ago, my brother's water line broke in his front yard. So he calls me to go with him to buy some tools to do the job. Free labor, right? So as I'm headed to meet with him, I break a glass cup and sweep it up and hurry along. He is inside the store. I meet up with him, and at the checkout line, after I get some rope and duct tape to tie some things down in my garage to clean it up. Tape and zip ties for my son's bike. I get to the register, and he tells me to just throw it in his cart. His way of paying for my future free labor. That's when I see the cashier's face. I had a small cut on my arm that had slowly bleed. I didn't notice, and my shirt had a nice blood stain too. Here is 2 dudes with old clothes on, buying shovels, duct tape, zip ties and WD-40. We laughed and didn't bother to explain. Nothing happened. But that lady never forgot our face. I think she is still waiting to see if we come up in the news. There has to be a thread where a lady's telling the story of how these 2 dudes killed someone and have never been caught. Edit. Holy shit, my first award. Thank you. I wouldn't be surprised. She still works at the box store. My brother and I still laugh when she looks at us and talks to the co-worker next to her. We imagine she says, "That's the guys. The killers." It's prob just in our heads, but it makes us laugh. Honestly, anything. 37 pineapples? Suspicious AF. 183 garden gnomes? Definitely cult ritual shit. These looks like typical primary school mathematic questions. If your friend brings 37 pineapples, and another friend brings 183 garden gnomes, how many billy goat sacrifices will you need for the ritual to raise Cthulhu? Edit. It's early and I screwed up the year I was supposed to use. Hamsters/other small animals. Feeding it to pet snakes probably. Snakes only eat about once or twice a week, depends on the species. I think red-tailed boas only eat once every 2 weeks. And most people, but then frozen as live feeding can hurt or even kill the animal. Basically anything. You walk up to the cashier and buy 100 of anything. You're gonna look weird and suspicious. 100 cakes? The hell is going on at his house? 100 cans of Raid Bug Killer? 100 bottles of vitamin A? 100 cucumbers? What in the anal hell is going on? Question mark? 100 rolls of toilet paper and you're just late. Bleach. Every year when I open my swimming pool I buy like 20 gallons of bleach. I'm either hit with, do you own a cleaning service? Or are you opening a pool? Nobody seems to weirded out by it. Next time try laughing maniacally for a solid minute, then abruptly stop and say no. Then stare at them the rest of the transaction. 1 to 4 smoke detectors. Responsible homeowner. Hundreds or thousands of smoke detectors, making a homemade neutron source. Wait, so you can build a nuke with enough smoke detectors? No idea about that, but look up the radioactive Boy Scout. I assume it would be something similar. Nutmeg. Seriously. It's a controlled substance in some Mideast countries. Why is it controlled? Edit. Thanks for all of the responses. Learned something new. Hallucinogenic if consumed in certain quantities. Lighter fluid. I just got 3 cans of lighter fluid for my torch. Now I'm wondering if the poor employee who checked me out was wondering why I was only buying 3 cans of lighter fluid. I swear I wasn't the one that started the fires. They were always burning since the world's been turning. Syringes for my mom's insulin. I buy 10 milliliters syringes with large blunt tips for refilling my fountain pens with ink. Amazon hasn't even blinked. Amazon also sells 55-gallon drums of lube. Candles. If they're black or red then bonus points. Yes. My family loves using candles when we bathe. So we can lay around and relax in low lighting. So I bought a bunch of lightly scented vanilla tea candles for a family event. Like 200 total candles. And when I went to check out, the poor cashier looked at me like I had told him I was gonna go summon Satan in the parking lot. Duct tape. He probably has a long pipe. Booyah. Our dog rips her toys apart. So we buy used stuffed animals at Salvation Army. My husband says that when he goes alone, he gets weird looks when he goes up to the counter with 20 or so teddy bears, etc. Why not get your dog rubber toys they can't destroy in a day? It'll save you monies. Sometimes what the dog enjoys is the ripping, not chewing. Our golden retriever gets such a blissful look on her face when she's pulling the stuffing out of a toy. Compressed air. I work in a PC repair store, or whatever you wanna call it, and we often buy large quantities of compressed air bottles. Apparently people use it for interesting reasons. I'm sorry, I have to ask. What interesting reasons? People inhale the toxins from the compressed air, and it ducks their brain up and gives them a sort of high, but really it just gives you brain damage. Cough syrup. Hey, buying a 12 pack of RoboCow weekly is perfectly normal. Machetes. Had a coupon that was good for a maximum of 12 and expired October 31st. With Christmas right around the corner, I figured I'd give them to guys that were family, friends, etc. They all loved them. But I kinda freaked the cashier out buying a dozen machetes on Halloween. I want friends who just gift me machetes. Eggs. Especially when combined with toilet paper. 2 dozen eggs and a 12 pack of Charmin. Probably just a normal shopping trip for some staple items and the dude has a big family. A cart filled with nothing but eggs and the cheapest toilet paper the store carries? Yeah. That's a vandal. My husband and I were behind some teens in a grocery checkout line that bought these exact things. Probably 200 eggs, and so many rolls of horrible toilet paper, and 10 cans of shaving cream. Stock. Buy 0.0000001% of a company and no one blinks an eye. Buy 50. 0.0000001% and suddenly you're in charge. I ducking hate it when I accidentally put the full stop too soon and accidentally buy Microsoft. Large dog kennels. This needs more recognition. Acetone and mineral spirits apparently. I ordered one medium-sized bottle each from a curbside pickup at Walmart along with a regular grocery run, and they made me show my ID and sign a special form that I wasn't going to do nefarious things, I guess. Well, I can understand that. Kind of. Those are easily accessible, and you can not only use them as accelerants for, say, arson, but they could also be raw materials for some sort of chemical concoction. Acetone mixed with hydrogen peroxide creates a pretty decent explosive called Apex. One of the reasons why the amount of fluids you can carry on an airplane is capped. Actually, meat. Apparently meat can be used to conceal drugs. I buy meat in bulk quantities, but don't eat it myself. Never had a reaction to this. Metallic gold spray paint. I was doing this art project where I'd take random found objects and paint them gold. And you'd at the spray paint counter of the art supply was super suspect of my purchase. I guess it's like the preferred flavor for the paint huffers. Yeah. Metallic gold and silver paint apparently has more solvent, which is why it's more popular with inhalant users. Lube. I work in creature effects and we use lube for Alien slime. Seriously. The creature in Alien was slathered in Kai. Also we use condoms for blood gags and cheap vodka to sanitize rubber monster suits. Sending out trainees to purchase all 3 at once is popular joke in industry. Reminds me when I was doing a weekend shoot. We had to improvise a new effect we weren't prepared for, and I end up at a Walmart at 2 AM buying condoms, rope, a BBQ fork, a meat injector and plastic tubbing. To make things worse, since it was all unexpected, we were covered in fake blood and had already been working since 7 AM the previous morning. So we looked completely out of it and were hyped up on 5-hour energies. Still surprised weren't pulled over on the way back. We for sure expected them to have called the cops. Vaseline. If you are buying it at least once a week, then I will likely assume that you aren't using it for its intended use. I go through shocking quantities because I have eczema and a chlorine allergy, meaning those whole plague wash hands extra thing is causing my hands to literally open up and bleed on their own from a mixture of reacting to soap and allergy. I need to use Vaseline after every wash. It's the most effective way of handling it. I also HDE massive titties, so I have no idea what people think of my quantities of usage. I like to hope they think of it as something more fun than I'm sick of bleeding from hundreds of tiny little wounds in my hands. Spray paint. Rope. IDK where you get your rope, but you need a better rope guy. I mean, normally I just hit up 3 different Home Depots, but if you have a guy, that's even better. A few years ago I was into home brewing wines and such. I found a recipe for strawberry wine that was made from strawberry jam, USA, jelly. Keen at get it fermenting, I rushed to the local supermarket when I didn't need any other groceries. So, I'm at the checkout with just 12 jars of strawberry jam on it and nothing else. The checkout girl looks me dead in the eye and says, "Wow, that's a lot of jam." My mind goes blank, and I didn't want to admit that I was planning to brew it up into cheap wine. So I just maintain eye contact and say, "Yay, I really like jam. We have jam in the US. I'm confused by your clarification, as they're different things." Gaffer tape. Ho hoss, the Bill Gates going around buying huge amounts of gaffer tape. Large arts centers / theaters buy black gaff 10 cases at a time. I, an employee of a pro tapes distributor, order gaff by the pallet. Cough syrup. Cop, sir, that's a whole lot of codeine cough syrup. Drug dealer, coughs. Dealer, leads. Kidneys. 1 is okay. 2 is you have horrible health. 3 is something illegal. People are really touchy about kidneys. Like, sure, if you donate 1 you're a hero, but if I donate 30 I'm a grave robber and need to leave the restaurant. Multiple cans of aerosols like deodorants. Have heard kids get high with those, and who TF would buy like 5 cans for any usual use, unless it's a Yautaba, and turn them into makeshift flamethrowers. In my experience, that was the more likely misuse of them. Matches. Especially if you say that you are having a gender reveal party. Concert tickets. In my home country we had an incident where a guy bought out the entire venue so the female singer could sing for him in private. Now you can't buy more than 5 to 10. Rope. Was getting some rope to make a rope ladder for a tree house I'm probably never gonna make, and my mom and the cashier looked at me like I was read in Among Us. I think rope is an item that gets more creepy with the less you buy. A whole spool? Nothing abnormal. 10 feet of rope though. Children. I get mine at Dollar General. I find the Dollar Tree has a better selection. Please click subscribe if you enjoyed this video.